Hey everyone, welcome back to the road to ProveIt 2026. So last week we discussed setting up the first stage of our software approach, and today we're going to look at the first stage of our hardware. Hey there, I'm Christopher Sandoval. I'm a developer relations advocate here at FlowFuse. So let's dive right into today's episode. So in order to get all of our machines talking to one another, we need to set up some basic hardware and networking. So one of the most important things when it comes to setting up your hardware environment is to be really flexible. Plans can change over time, and what you planned before you started the project can certainly change as you get into the project itself. Case in point, our network connectivity. So during initial testing, I was pretty pleased with the cellular connection that we were getting from our industrial router. But I was less satisfied with the connectivity that we were getting from all of the devices to the wireless access point. To resolve this, we decided to add a piece of hardware into our setup. What you're looking at here is a generic wireless adapter. This is going to connect to any network that we provide to it, and they'll convert that connection into a wired connection. On our switch, we'll default to this connection for our wireless connectivity, and we'll set up some logic to make sure that if that connection gets unbearably slow or just drops altogether, we can default to our industrial router and get our cellular connection as a fallback. So with that in place, it was time to connect all of our devices and start assigning some IP addresses. We tested the server in situ and verified that we were in fact getting internet access. Next, we started wiring all of the other devices into the switch as well. With all the on-logic devices in place, we powered them all on individually and made sure that they were also getting network connectivity. And with that confirmed, we moved on to actually setting up the server. Now for this use case, we decided to use Ubuntu Server 24.04.3 LTS. Now here's another point where flexibility is key. While my colleague Drew and I are very comfortable with the command line interface, we do have colleagues that may want to interact with the server and may not be all that comfortable. So to that end, and this is not a general best practice, we decided to install a GUI onto our server. With this in place, we booted up Ubuntu, tested that everything was right, and jumped into the terminal. From here, we installed some pretty critical software. The two most notable for this stage are Docker Engine and RustDesk. Docker Engine is obviously going to give us the ability to roll out Docker on our machine, and RustDesk is just an open source way to provide remote access to the server. And with that in place, we're ready to start migrating the instances that we developed in FlowFuse to the server itself. We'll also be installing two Opto22 Groove Rio devices, so we've left some room on the test bench for those to be installed later. In addition to that, we'll be installing some stack lights and e-stop and a couple buttons, but for now, most of our base hardware is in situ. Now that we're at the end of this phase, I do want to briefly talk about project planning. Now for people working on smaller deployments, this process is often skipped, but having a timeline in place to measure against is actually really important. As you can see per our timeline, we've actually hit our 50% completion mark. That's a huge milestone, and I'm incredibly excited to share the rest of the steps in the next coming weeks. So next time on the road to ProveIt, we're going to continue installing some hardware, and then we'll show you exactly how we're going to integrate that hardware with our existing data as well as our Site 4. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you liked it. If you did, please consider giving us a like, comment, or subscribe. And please let me know in the comments below how you would approach a project like this. Everyone is going to approach this kind of project completely differently, so I'd love to hear how you would plan this and what systems you would put in your deployment list. People are going to do these sorts of projects completely differently, and I love hearing the way that other people would approach the same problem. For now though, this has been Christopher Sandoval. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Road to ProveIt 2026.